Yeah. Oh, and now we are live. Yes. So from here on, the pairing will be recorded, right? So if anybody watches this video, it's Will White and me, Robert. We are doing some kind of pairing. Will had run into the issue that when you say participate now on our application, you immediately you get hit by this login window, and there's no way to close this window, the login window. The only way to get around is to get back and refresh the page, and that's not good user experience. And we try to find a good way to solve it.
Yeah, because it's right in the time when you're trying to find out more about how it works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, so I suggested that I work on a branch, and I push that branch, and Will can later on copy that branch in his own fork, and we can work together. When we are done, we create a pull request into the original repository and merge the feature. Cool. So I just I pushed the branch, and when you say do you know how to work with remotes? Will, Git remotes?
Only a little bit. I remember I'm doing Git push, and I guess pushing.
All right. Remote. Okay, so then you were going to learn something about Git remotes first, if you don't mind. I share my screen. I share my screen. I will share. Can I? Ah, interesting. I can only share my browser window. Okay, that's a problem. Or I can share my entire screen. I will share my entire screen. So, can you see anything?
Yeah, I can see.
Is the font size large enough so you can see my terminal on the right side?
No.
Okay.
I can read it if I squint.
Yeah. This is weird. Usually I was always able to share like a window. Ah, there we go. Finally. Okay, I was just wrong. It's my fault. Now, that's better, right?
That's better, yeah.
Okay. Can you still see it?
Yep.
Okay. Sometimes it's confusing for me. I'm using i3, which is a window manager, and it's sometimes confusing for me what other people now see, and if they see my browser window or if they see my terminal. Anyhow.
Okay.
Where am I? So many windows. There we go. So Git remotes is like you can have many remotes. So there's the original repository, which is located at github.com or Schäfer rundfunk-mitbestimmen, but other people also fork this repository. And you can basically push, like send your commit on the through the internet, like upload your commit to any of those. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but where's? Oh, okay. You haven't defined mine yet, or if you want, I see.
Yeah, exactly. So if you tell me your fork, I can also push commits to your fork.
Yeah, git remote add, isn't it?
Exactly, git remote add, and I will call that Will. What's your GitHub name?
Will N for Nigel White.
Will N, then?
Yeah, N for Nigel. What's N? N for Norman. That's not a good one. I don't know what's the normal.
Now I'm trying to find you in my browser now. Okay. Will White are you also called Will White on GitHub?
Will N White on GitHub.
Will n1. Yeah, there we go. All right. So this, right? Okay, just for me, it's my way of giving names to remotes. I just name them corresponding to the name of GitHub on GitHub.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I need the fork of rundfunk-mitbestimmen.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I already found it. It's on GitHub. Awesome. So
copy and
there we go.
paste.
Now I have a new remote, and I can also do I have write permissions on that remote already?
Oh, I haven't changed those. No, where do I do that? If I click on contributors.
Yeah, you can say settings and collaborators, and then you're usually you're asked for your credentials and.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I need to look my. ROSCHAE. Okay, I've added you.
Awesome.
And I've got an invite link.
Yeah, you can paste that into the into the chat window. I think in earlier days you did not need to accept the invitation. I think because of spam, GitHub now wants you to accept like the collaboration, the write permissions and stuff. So people did not get
Invited to things that they didn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I now push the branch, and you can now, for example, it's sometimes a little bit weird to switch between the shared screen.
Got it.
Share. So do you see your repository on GitHub?
Yep.
Awesome.
And I'm on the branch.
Here's the new branch, and you can now say compare pull request. And I just do that. So I will create a new pull request into the master branch of the original repository.
Yeah, okay.
Base fork, add fork, what?
Oh, you're in your repository there, aren't you?
No, that's not what I want. Okay, that's what I want. So master, okay. I also have the same branch on my repository, but that's not, you don't have write permissions yet, so yeah. Huh? I should see some base branch.
Shouldn't the base fork be in your repository?
Maybe you're right, yeah.
But you're in your repository.
Will it automatically switches. Like, click on the button. Okay, now I have to get back. Oh my god, this is complicated.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Okay. New pull request. So finally, okay, master, that's correct. And yeah, there we go. Right, so there's only this acceptance test here. And I will say work in progress, closable login window. And you can also say close 332, because it will now be linked to this issue. And so that's the issue that we were trying to solve. And when you say close 332, when this pull request is merged into master, it will automatically close the issue, which is nice.
Oh, cool.
You can see that here. Hang on. Yeah.
Yeah.
This issue will close once pull request, blah, 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 is merged into the master branch.
Oh, that's good to know.
So that's a trick of GitHub, which I often use. Now, let's get back to the terminal. Okay, so you can still see my terminal, right?
Yes, yeah.
So I created the acceptance test, and can you see the other terminal that I just opened, or you just see one terminal now?
Just one.
Okay. Well, this is not a big deal. I have a terminal inside my editor. I'm using Vim. And NeoVim has this special feature that you can open a terminal inside the editor. So this is weird. This is just Linux. I can only show one, either the entire screen and you can see anything, or just one application window, and it's a little bit hacky. It's okay. This is now the terminal, and I'm inside the front-end folder, right?
Yeah.
And you can see we have tests in all 3 folders. So we have front-end tests in the front-end folder, we have back-end tests in the back-end, and we have full-stack tests testing both front-end and back-end at a time. Okay. And those are located in the root folder. So what we are doing now, since this is a front-end issue, we're going to create a front-end test. We create the highest level test for the Ember.js frontend. That is an acceptance test. And I already did something like Ember.g. G is generate, stands for generate acceptance. And it's like a generator test, and you can give it a name. So I said find broadcast.
You've misspelled acceptance.
No, acceptance.
I think it's an A.
Oh yeah, sorry. Sometimes I'm just confused. Acceptance says find broadcast, close login window. So I did that already. And this is going to create the file that you just see in the pull request already. So you can go ahead and check out the branch, and you should see in folder test, acceptance, find broadcast, this test now. And the acceptance test does the following. So Ember.js is a framework for single-page applications. So you get a pile of HTML and JavaScript, and the application runs inside the browser and occasionally sends requests to the backend and grabs the data and then re-renders the page or parts of the page, right? And what we are going to do is to mock certain data, like the broadcast that you see, and visit this URL, find-broadcasts, and simulate a user clicking on those buttons. And what we want to expect is that, so first of all, there isn't a login window, right? So when you first visit the site, the login window is not there. And when you click on the button, the login window will appear, because what we don't want is that we send out the request to the backend, because if you're not logged in, you cannot write to the database.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right? And whenever a person clicks on the support button, that's a write request, let's say. And you cannot do that if you're not logged in, because the server needs to know, well, who are you? Like.
Yeah, so what you've done is at the moment, you've made it so that you log in at the very top level, at the very first instance. Correct? So that after that, it's not a problem. But what you're trying to do with this pull request is to make it so that you only log in when you actually have to.
Exactly. And it's creating more. It's creating better user experience, because if you.
Well, yeah, that's right. Because I stopped as soon as I saw a login screen. I thought, oh, okay, I don't want to have to log in just to find out how this works, because I'm not ready to use it yet.
Exactly. So.
And then I couldn't close that window. So yeah, the two things are together, aren't they?
It's terrible user experience. So I'll just log out right now, and it's terrible user experience to get on that screen. I want to participate now, and I'm asked to log in, right? Sure. And that really puts people off, and there's not even a close symbol here. And the reason why we have it is we just want to prevent people from clicking on the support buttons below this login window, right? So I want to prevent people from sending a request to the backend, and the backend will return, you're not authorized, you're not authenticated, and yeah, right?
So, so you put a backend login to stop errors.
Yeah, that was
really fun technique.
Yeah, it was quicker to implement that one than the proper one that we are going to implement now.
Yeah.
Right? And it should not show login button. Only when I click on the buttons, then it should show the login button. Login screen, sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So back to the terminal. Right. So you can write acceptance tests like this, and I will copy and paste from an existing backend test. Right. So I cannot speak anymore. Acceptance test. I'm sorry. Okay. So this is another acceptance test, and we're going to copy paste from that because we want to set up some data and so on, and visit certain URLs. So what's going on here? Oh yeah. So what we are testing here is that we want to reset the search query if somebody is searching, the pagination should be reset. So pagination is like you only see the first 6 broadcasts of the results set.
Yeah.
And if you make another search and you're on page number 10 and the new search returns only 4 results and you're on page number 10, then you just see nothing.
Right, yeah.
So the problem here was a search should reset the pagination that you start on page number 1 and you see your 4 results. So what are we going to do here? So we log in order to not to show the login window. As you can see, that would not be necessary after we fix the feature here.
Yeah.
That is That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And so after we did that, we are creating some broadcasts, and those broadcasts are not created in the backend. Like it's a mock database in your browser, in the local storage of your browser. That build list comes from a magical plugin of Ember called Ember Data Factory Guy. I'm not going to explain that in detail. It's just creating some records. That's all. Those records that will be displayed. Are you still with me, Will? I think connection. Will. Ah.
Yeah. Sorry.
No worries. All right. So.
Sorry, could you just say that part again about the before each?
Sure. So this is we are mocking the login. We're pretending we are logged in order to avoid the login window, basically.
Yeah.
And then we create some records in the local storage of the browser, the broadcasts that will be shown. And you visit the URL. We click on the next button in order to hit the pagination.
Okay.
Then we search for another broadcast title. And there should be no pagination in here. So if there would be some kind of pagination, you would see page 2, for example. And
Yeah.
since this is not the case, we can safely assume that the pagination was reset.
Okay. Yeah.
That's all. So what we can copy and paste from this acceptance test is how to set up broadcasts in the local storage of the browser, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What we're going to do. So we need all that. We don't need authenticate session because we are testing an unauthenticated user. We probably need that. So I just copy that. In it, and what else? My laptop is so slow. Yeah, we need that one here.
So let me try and get something clear. Are we going to try and fix this issue in 2 parts? The first part is that you can close the window that you clicked on.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second part being the login window doesn't appear unless it needs to. Is that how we're going to do it, or are we going to do it all in one?
So making the window closable is no problem at all. It's removing one line of code.
Yeah. So we're going to do it all. Are we going to do it all together?
Yeah, I would say we're going to do it all together.
Okay.
So we are writing an acceptance test now that we see a login window when we click on the button. We should not see a window. So what we can test the following. First, we should not see a login window when we just visit the URL.
Right.
Second, if we're on that URL and we click on the next button, we should see the login window.
Yes.
We can also expect that there will be no requests made to the backend.
Yes, correct.
And we can also check that not only the next button, but also the support button of any of those broadcasts. And I would create 4 test cases for each of those.
Okay.
Right. So that, close window test. Yeah, we are there. So we're not going to mock impressions. We are mocking station. Oh no, we are R. We need that. So because the application knows if you supported that broadcast already and displays a red heart icon if you supported it and displays a gray heart icon if you didn't. So we are going to mock that. Yeah, that was the old one. Okay, I think it's okay for now. So describe. What are we going to describe? Let's say context. So there are different styles when to use context or describe. I usually say context when I mean some kind of state. For example, user unauthenticated user, right? We are not logged in or something.
Yeah.
Since this is the default, actually, we don't have to do anything. Describe, visit, find broadcasts. So first thing is it
doesn't have a login page.
Does not have the login page. It does not show the login page. Whoops. You're a native speaker of English, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how would you, can you just, is that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it does not show the login page or what's the real word for it? Dialogue.
Ah, login dialogue. Yeah, I love that because please teach me English idioms and how to use the language because it's not my mother tongue.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, sure.
Also, if you check out the issues on GitHub, I really have, well, it's 5 p.m. I think I have 20 minutes more.
Me too.
My plan for today was to go out for a run until there's sunlight. And I think I still have enough time. So when you check out the issues on GitHub, please correct anything you see. Like it's tough for me to make myself clear. Like when I write the issue, I really think like a new team member, would he or she be able to understand what I was writing?
Okay, yeah, I know that problem as a project owner myself. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Especially if you subdivide issues, right? So my intention was to make issues as small as possible. So, for example, new team members can fix a subtask, for example, of a larger issue. And then I'm afraid that nobody is like the context is missing, like, and all of that. So
yeah. Okay.
Providing feedback on the issues on GitHub is a very appreciated feedback. Like,
okay.
So that would
the way I like to start. I don't know if you would be interested in this. The way I like to approach a project is to try and use the live project, and that's how I came to this issue. Rather than looking through the issues and looking at what's been decided as a priority to fix.
Oh yeah, right.
I try and use it as a user.
Yeah.
And decide the priority that way.
Exactly. I'm the same like you. Like I always see those issues from the user. What kind of value does it create for the user?
Yeah.
And it's. On Azure Ventures, I noticed that we have a lot of people, a lot of junior developers, I mean, obviously. And I really try so I not only have to write issues that communicate the value for the user, but also that are so small that it is easy to get started. Like user requirements that describe the user value perfectly are usually very large. And people don't know where to start. So yeah, I have to keep both things in mind, and it makes it even more difficult.
Yeah, it's quite difficult matrix, yeah, balance between those. You've got a matrix going on, haven't you? It's difficult to get that balance. That's why I like to. This is what I do with my own projects. If I don't know what to work on next, I'll just fire up what I've got and try and use it. It's always a good way.
Yeah. So then I would say, so backing back to the test, I would say when you click on one of the, for example, support button, that should definitely show the login window, right?
Yes.
So it displays or opens the login dialog, right?
Yeah.
Oops. And same thing for. Oops. Same thing for. Click on the next button. It might be counterintuitive why the clicking on the next button is sending the request to the backend. We are tracking if people did not click the support button, right? So we're counting how many people click the support button out of the people who had seen this broadcast on the application, like got an impression of it. So we can later on say 50% click the support button, or 30% of all users click the support button.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So and the next button is the alternative to clicking support. It's like I didn't click support, so I click next.
Exactly. So next sends 6 requests to the backend for each of those broadcasts.
Okay.
That's the reason why next is also writing to the backend. So click the next button should opens the login dialog. And what else? We had 4 test cases, didn't we?
Yeah.
Backend requests are made.
Yes.
No requests to the backend. Maybe we can put that below each of those. Like this. Do you think the structure makes sense, like from the description?
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with the next button. I haven't actually seen it. So if I can, let me try and, can I see it?
Yes, you have to log in. And by the way, you can do, like, you can also log into the live application. That's all right. You can also log in locally, like if you have the application set up locally and you log in, then you will not write into the production environment. It depends. It's up to you. I can also show it on my. I can also show it on my machine. Here. So this is localhost 4200, and now I'm logged in. So when I click on participate now, I will not see the login window, and I click on, for example, next.
Yeah.
Right. Whoops. And here you can see. And here you can see the request made to the backend. Right. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. More than 5. Interesting. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Huh? I would expect that we have 6 requests to the database. Anyhow, so these requests create impressions. Like you should see that you create impressions that are neutral. So your impression can either be, the response can either be neutral or positive. So when I click on support, that creates a positive impression.
Yeah.
And if you don't click on support and you click on next, you will create a negative, a neutral impression for the other broadcasts.
Yeah, I see. Okay, so I've seen the next button now. Oh, it's not my connection again, is it? Oh dear. Good. I've seen it with my eyes now.
Right. And we're using Amber Mocha. And you can see there's one failing acceptance test, which is this one.
Yeah.
That's the acceptance test which we expect to fail, right?
Yeah. Which is important. Which is important to check. Was that you're making that point that it's important to check that it is failing.
Exactly. You want the test to fail, and then you try the implementation, and you expect the test to pass.
Yeah.
Right. Constantly switching between the shared application windows. There we go. So broadcast mock was not defined. That's no problem. So let's just define it. Broadcast mock. And what else do we need? This is it. Yeah. So I think we can write first test case by visiting the URL. And there's you can check out the Amber docs. So if you say Amber doc on Google or whatever search engine you're using, you find amazing resources how to write acceptance tests and component tests. And below there's the for example, the way how you would oh no, this is actually an expectation. Yeah, there you go.
So this is on emberjs.com.
Yeah. So we're not clicking the next, we're not searching, we're not submitting search. Right. So I would say let's visit the URL find minus broadcasts, and then we expect something not to be there. And expecting something not to be there is always a little bit tricky because it's better to expect something that is there. I'm trying to think about something that we can expect that we would not see if we have the login window. Actually, it's pretty difficult. Maybe it's okay to expect that there should be no login window. this time? Or what do you think? Like, do you see my problem? Writing
Yeah, I see. I mean, I see the problem. So the issue with the login window is that you can't use the rest of the site when it's open because you've got that dark grayed thing. So if that thing has a name, I don't know if that's easier to hook into, to say, well, if that thing's not there, then that's all that's important, because the reason we care about there not being a login window when you go there is so that you can look at the rest of the page. So yeah, it's really the property that you can see the rest of the page. And the only proxy I can think of for that is the absence of the gray background thing.
Yeah, I have the same feeling. So I just checked the classes, the HTML classes of this login window, and as you can see, we have a lot of all zero log classes, and I would just expect there should be not a single element on the page with this class. What do you think? This is
there should, and within auth zero. Yeah, it's a decent proxy. I mean, it would be nice to give it a login class, wouldn't it? I don't know. Would it? It's interesting.
I don't know. I'm a little bit afraid that we kind of refactor and remove that class.
Yeah.
For example.
Okay.
Something I would expect auth minus log is robust enough regarding changes. So let's see if it actually vanishes if we are indeed logged in. So do we have auth log somewhere? Oh no, there is something. Length. Oh no. Okay. Nice. So we can, if the login window is not visible, there are no elements with a class of 0 minus log, right?
Yep.
And now there's something. Oh, just one? Really? I thought that I had seen it many times. Anyhow, okay, so this is something we can expect. And let's do that. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the fact that it's blocking is the. I don't, if that's an interesting. Yeah, I've not considered that before. I've never done this kind of testing before.
So again, I'm just copying the expectation from another test. So after we visit the find broadcast page, there should be no auth 0 log. I'm already zero like this. Oh, no, there's a typo. I'm already a little bit wary because there's an animation going on, and maybe that's the problem when you expect some things not to be there. Maybe it's not waiting for the animation to finish. It's right. So let's see if the test is actually failing now. Oh, there's a syntax error. Oh, yeah. Oh. It's a pity that I can show you the result of the test and the editor window at the same time. Broadcast mock is still undefined. Why? Because I forgot the S. Broadcasts mock. So this is like a variable, and you can assign it. A mock query just means any request to the backend will return a mock, and you can send arbitrary records to the browser that are visible in the browser. right?
Yeah.
So there will be no real requests to the actual backend. That will be the case for full stack testing, right? That was too complicated, right? So
I can see front. Oh, okay.
when you do full stack testing, you're testing front end and back end at the same time, and the front end under test will indeed make requests to the back end.
Okay, yeah.
And when you just make acceptance tests in Ember.js, we are making use of the mock features of Ember Data Factory Guy, and it creates a mocked server, let's say, that just responds with the records that you hard-coded into the test.
Yeah, you're not testing whether the backend serves the front end. You're just
exactly. We're just testing the front end. That's enough.
Yeah.
And my interesting. And that's that's interesting. I want you to see this. So what happens if I'm trying out the test? So I hit refresh, and boom, there's the login window. So the login window even appears over my front-end tests, right?
Wait, what?
Yeah, this auth 0 widget is just appearing anywhere. Like whenever this the JavaScript method is called show the login window, it's just displaying the login window.
Oh, okay.
Even in my tests. Sometimes it's a little bit funny because I also we have a call to the browser's back button. Yeah, you can do that. You can rewrite the history, so you can instruct the browser to go one back, the page back, right?
Yeah.
And if you do that in your front-end tests, you will actually go back to wherever you have been before, canceling all the front-end tests. So
this is a bug.
It's no, I don't know. It's actually not a bug. I mean, you want the browser to go back, right? So the browser just does it, and he doesn't know that he's currently in testing environment.
Okay.
So, and yeah, so below this thing here, yeah, preview, you can see that the acceptance test is actually passing, and that's not what we want.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna do some errors.
So this could be the animation thing.
It can be the animation thing, exactly. Oops, that was the wrong one. Oh no. I'm gonna take it confused by them. So how can I enter the terminal here? Control and yes, that was it. Right, so 0. Maybe this is because it's kind of out of scope. Maybe the test is passing because
it's not able to look at the right part of the page.
Maybe it's not possible to test it after all. I think it's just impossible to.
I mean, it wasn't important to test this before, was it? Is it important to test it now with this, in solving this issue? We're talking about this issue of.
I would say it's not that important because even if the test is passing, you immediately see if the auth 0 log window is there when you run the tests. Because it's just hovering, it's just appearing. So I would say it's let's just skip that test case maybe and just go on.
Yeah, I mean that test case applies to any page where you want to go to it and not see the login page.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. I would say let's just go ahead and I would even change the actual functionality now and remove the login window from appearing when you visit the route, like the URL. And you can actually see that. So I'll now go into app, folder routes, folder find broadcasts. So there's a route that's a special kind of object in this Ember.js framework. It's the root, like the root object that also requests data from the backend. And somewhere in here we have, yeah, we have the login. It is here. So when we get the broadcast from the backend, the front end is testing, am I authenticated? And if you're not authenticated,
not with my connection.
Yeah. I just said that you have the route, find broadcast, and it's testing, it's checking whether you're authenticated. And if that's not the case, it's transitioning to login. So let's just remove that for the time being. I'm expecting now that I don't see the login window again. Yeah, right. So I'm not authenticated, and there's no login window right now. So the login window is not there. But of course, I can still click on next and see those, yeah, unauthorized. Sorry.
I was running it in my head.
Yeah. So I'm not logged in.
Yeah.
Click on broadcast, no login window. But when I click on next or on support, there's an unauthorized request to the backend. That's not what we want, right? A lot of unauthorized requests.
So to intercept that.
Login window is gone. If I click on login window, I cannot close it. Let's just do that. We don't need to test for that, by the way. I was never, this is just this small line of code, and I'm not going to write a test for that because that's the responsibility of Auth0. So I just remove the line from, I just remove the relevant line and routes. Yeah, so there's the application route, which is kind of the parent route. All the other routes, or do you actually say route or routes?
So I think in this case, I'm not sure because it's American English versus British English, and I've heard more American English saying routes for this. So that's the word that I've learned for that.
Okay, I will stick to route. Also, I like route because it's distinguishable from root, like in root folder or root user.
Yeah.
So route. So all the routes, they inherit from this application route, and they all have this ability to show the login window wherever you are. So when you click on the login window in the menu, wherever you are, you can open the login window. And the configuration for this is here. So if I just remove that line, suddenly the login window is closable.
Right, yeah.
And I'm not going to write a test for that. So it's okay to implement that before you have a failing test. That's not the problem here, I would say. So refresh. Now, when I click on login, there's this close icon, and it's gone. And I can also hit escape. I cannot hit escape, but I can at least close the window. That's all what we want, right? Okay, and now what we want is that we click on those buttons and the login window should appear. And it doesn't right now.
Yeah.
It even claims I supported that broadcast, but I didn't, because I sent the request to the backend, but it was not fulfilled because it was rejected.
Yeah, so is that, and that's not on purpose, that's not an optimistic update thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know about that?
Optimistic update?
Yeah. I think that's what optimistic update is about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can, whenever we click the support button, there's no reason why this should fail.
Right.
The only reason why this could fail is we are not logged in. Like, you can always change your response to a broadcast. You can always say you want to support it, or you can change your opinion.
Yeah.
That's always possible. There's actually, you never run into any conflicts, like you cannot you cannot write data because someone else is going to write it in this application. All the data that you write it individually. So there's no reason why backend request should not be successful.
Yeah.
You can be optimistic in like 99% of all the cases.
Yeah, that's just in general, should that be some kind of loading bar, or there should be something to show the status that there's a request happening? Because if an optimistic thing does fail, then go back to the website and later and you still support something, or it has the previous state.
Yeah.
Which isn't good. It's better to show the truth, which is that there's something going on in the background. You read about optimistic updates with Facebook, and when I was learning about React, I think. So maybe it's just something they do for user experience.
Maybe you can check that out later on, optimistic updates.
Yeah.
So after we did that, like, we can finally close the login window. I would say now we can at least write the test cases for seeing the login window, right? So
yeah.
I click on support, there should be no requests, and I want to see the login window, and so on and so on. Yeah. So I just basically check. I would say let's check for this message here, login. The title of the login window, right?
Well, there's the login button on the page. That word is on the page as well. So it will always be positive.
Oh, yeah, right. You're right. Maybe we should say login with. Or even better.
Isn't it? It's quite hard to...
I would even better. So the text is different if you... So this is now the production environment again. So that's what you see right now if you click on Find Broadcast to keep access to your data and be able to change it. That's actually the explanation why you have to log in. Many people ask me, like, why the heck I have to log in? Like, people are actually very angry about it. Like, I want to use this application. I don't want to log in, right?
Yeah. Well, which is what we're fixing right now, I suppose.
Exactly. So their feeling is like, I just want to dump my data and never come back, right? So they don't think about they're creating data and they want to keep access to it, because we cannot take the data serious if people lose the connection to their data, if there's no way for our users to change their data later on. Like we want to create some kind of impact, and we want to convince people in broadcasting, we have so and so many users, and this is what they want. This is how they want to spend their broadcasting fees, and they will not take us serious if users are just dumping their data and there's no way for them to access it again.
Yeah, I see. Yep.
And that's actually the reasoning of the login. Like we just need, I'm really not interested into their data. I just want them to remember something that they know in order to get access to the data again. Like this can be anything, an email address, a social login account, anything. Something that is that they remember, that is exclusive to them. They can also give us a one-time email address. No problem, as long as they remember their email address. Right? Yeah. So I would say let's check for this explanation here, which you're supposed to see when you're on this site, find broadcasts, right?
I mean,
no.
So the only thing with that is that ideally, in time, that explanation won't be necessary as it becomes when we've made it so that clicking on things brings up a login screen. It should be clear to you why. It's still the best thing on that login page, though. I think it's still the best thing on there. I'm just thinking that explanation you might want to get rid of that in time.
Yeah, sure. But I would say then we would refactor the acceptance test.
Okay. Yeah. This is the best thing for now.
So
I have to go because I have to be somewhere at 5.
Yeah, that's all right. It's already 5:30. I said I have time until 5. So yeah, that's fine for me. I can just write down the acceptance test, push it later on to your repository. I will probably do that later on this evening. And yeah, I think you should be able to get started with that, I would say, because you have some directions with the acceptance test, right?
Yeah.
And if you check out the Ember guidelines, the trick or the magic trick you need to do is to tell those components on the page if the user is currently logged in or not. So when you click on the next button or you click on the support button, it checks, am I logged in?
Yeah.
And if not, you can show the login window instead of sending the request. So that's all. So you have to kind of parameterize those, or you pass the login action into the components. That is the Ember way. So
okay.
I just give you some keywords, how to pass actions or how to put in actions into components. You should check out Ember components. It's a very comprehensive tutorial on that on the Ember guidelines. Okay. And yeah, that's actually all you need.
What about the next button though? You should be able to see the next broadcasts even if you're not logged in. If you can see the first 6 broadcasts are not logged in, why shouldn't you be able to see the next?
Yeah, you can argue on that. You can show them the next broadcast, right? You can change the next button just not to send any requests to the backend. That would be possible. Then you can see the next broadcast, no problem, and you don't send requests to the backends.
Yeah.
To the backend. That's possible. Yeah, it's up to you. So when you click on support, the login window should definitely appear.
Yeah.
When you click on next, at least there should be no requests made to the backend.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the only thing here is, are there other things where you need to be logged in to use them? Because we're just singling out the support things here.
No.
I thought that the web. Okay, fine. That's the answer. If there's no, if it's not.
That page I just showed you. That's the only place where you have to change anything. All the other routes are not accessible if you're not logged in.
Fine.
Like the My Broadcast page, if you log out, you cannot see the My Broadcast page. Like that's the, don't know if you've seen it already. That's the page where you have all your supported broadcasts.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just thought that we might solve this in a more general way, which would be if a component is asking for something that needs login for, then the login window pops up, and we don't have to choose at design time what those things are. We just make that rule, and then anything that wants that, including the support buttons, but possibly other things. That's obviously this solution works for now though, so that's fine.
Yeah. You will come across that anyways. There's you're talking about something like a service. Like every component could ask, am I currently authenticated or not?
Yeah, or it intercepts the thing somehow, which it would be even better. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's called a service. So check out Amber, inject actions into components, and how to inject a service. And you will need that anyway.
Okay.
Because you want to check if you're authenticated or not. And then you want to call an action that will be passed by the route in this case.
Yeah.
Right? It works like, if you ever worked with React, have you worked with React?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, then it's the same. It's exactly the same way. You can pass state and actions down to subcomponents.
Yeah.
And it's the same case here. Like the route knows how to open the login window, but the component does not know yet. And you just pass down this action, and the component itself will check when I'm clicked, if I'm not authenticated, open or call this action.
Okay.
Happens.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Okay. Yeah, I can watch the end of this call again when I get started.
Yes, exactly. Awesome. Right.
All right.
Cool, Will. Nice. Awesome that you're interested into this project.
Yeah, it has some similarities with what I'm working on too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the idea that people should be in more control of what their money, their tax is spent on.
Yeah. Oh, I can talk hours and hours about that. It's a really relevant application right now. Like there's a current debate going on in the German media. Yeah, it's a long story, but it's really relevant, and yeah, we're doing a good job, really. Every day I get more and more convinced that this is really important what we are doing here. And yeah, maybe that's for another day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, feel free to check out Y in the meantime, which is the project I'm doing.
Yes, sure. Send me a link.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's one of the chat rooms on Slack, but yeah, I'll send you a link to the project.
Sure.
And then you can. It'll be interesting again to see what you think is the most important thing, what the priority is for its development.
Yeah. Cool. Fair enough.
All right. See you soon. I'll have a go at that.
Right. Cool.
All right.
I'll have a run.
Yeah. Whilst it's still light, you have to run fast.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.